Hey, what is up, squad? TITOBODS here. Today we're going to talk about the 4 adornments that I have been talking about on my YouTube short. If you haven't yet checked that out and you find this first, I think you are in luck. And also for the players who have been in the shorts and that short lead you here, welcome to our channel. If this is your first time here, don't forget to give us love by subscribing and sharing this video. Also will really help our channel out. But anyway, let's move on to our topic for today. We have tested these 4 different adornments, and thanks to one person who really helped us out in the process. I would like to thank Esoteranot for helping us out with this test, and also shout out to Server 110 for being a good sport when it comes to the Desolate Desert. These are the 4 adornments that we are talking about. We have the natural selections, we have the Starlink, we have Thunder, and also we have Calculation. Now let's first differentiate the Thunder and Calculation. Between these two, who do you think would win in the damage per second? Because both of them are for damage. So they both deal damage, and that's their main focus. Now, although Calculation has a lower extra percentage of damage, it will though stack, and when stuck, it has a decent numbers compared also to Thunder. And good thing that our Calculation and Thunder adornments are almost at the same tier. Now, look at this chart. I'm showing you right now the actual numbers of the fights with a total of 20 fights. So we have here natural selection, and the first number will show you how much damage we have got. And then as you can see on the second trial, it has drastically go down. And also on the third trial here, as you can see. Then got back up again on the fourth trial, wherein we have still a low damage addition to the trial. Now, one thing that made this inconsistent amounts of damage is actually the effects of natural selection itself. It has one portion of damage, and it also has one portion of defense. And another thing that actually has been plaguing the natural selection is actually you're going to wait 9 seconds for each activation. So that's it. That's why the damage can be seen in here, but we will not see the use of the defense, because one of the driving factors why the natural selection is actually being chosen by most players is actually its defensive capabilities, which is very important in the battlefield. So in that case, we are going to give a special mention on that part of the natural selection, because on this 4 trials, the only one that has defense is natural selection. So that is given that this has the lowest damage capability out of these 4. And the next one we have here is the Starlink. So it has a little bit higher tier, just 1 tier ahead of the rest. And we have here on damage trial 1, 10,500, damage trial 2, 10,800, next is 10,300, then 10,500, then 10,600. So you can see we have almost consistent amount of damage in here, and it shows that the Starlink actually has or can activate its 60%, almost like every other skill that Ramesses use. You will activate the Starlink. That's why the number shows that it is a little bit more consistent than the rest. Now we have here Thunder. So Thunder is actually the highest average damage that we have out of the 4. Now if you don't know yet, the Thunder has this skill or this effect, but the problem with this one is that you will only activate once on that 3 seconds. So that's actually it. It has the highest damage percentage out of the 3, which is natural selection, Thunder, and Calculation. Now the thing with the Thunder is that, as I said, it will activate when you do normal attacks. If you have activated that one during a critical, you will really hit hard. That's actually just the advantage, but it is an RNG thing. It's not always going to be consistent. So we have here the damage on the first trial, 11,500. On the second, 11,800. On the third, you can see the activation there is pretty low, maybe, or it didn't hit during a critical. As you can see, it's only 10,800. And then on the next one again, we have 10,900. You can see the data is a little bit inconsistent. And then on the last one, we have only 9,400. So it didn't really hit that critical rate, I think. But in the end, it still managed to get the highest average damage. But still, for me, this is the most RNG thing out of the 4. Now we also have here Calculation. So in Calculation, as I've said, you need to stack the Calculation before you can actually get the best out of it. But no problem with Ramesses, because Ramesses can actually stack this out in just a few seconds. So the first damage trial, you can see we have 10,600. Then next one we have 11,300, and then the next one we have 11,200. It's a little consistent, but it drops up on the fourth trial. Now the next one we have 11,400. So as you can see, this is pretty consistent when it comes to the damage. But the only thing I think during that fourth trial where we lose, I think the critical hits of the opponent actually did land more. That's actually the only explanation that I can give you about that one. But as you can see, this is also another consistent damage, same as the Starlink. And you can see on the average damage, the Starlink and the calculation both have almost the same or identical total amount of damage. Although in the Starlink, the advantage there is we never lose a fight. That's the only most consistent damage. We never lose a fight. So Starlink is actually the winner here when it comes to the damage trials. But Starlink, if you can get Starlink, which is pretty good. So let's move on to the time trial. So here in the screen, you can see that we have also 5 time trials. So on the first fight, it was 16 seconds, also 16 seconds. This is for the natural selection. And then when we lost, as you can see here, we have 17 seconds. So it means that we have less damage during those times. Then on the trial 4, we got 14. And on the trial 5, we got 15. So it's a little bit inconsistent, as you can see, as I've said. And we have the total average damage in seconds by 15.6. And the total damage per seconds of this one is actually 649. Now the next one we have is the Starlink. So here, as you can see, Starlink has 15 seconds here, then 16 seconds here, and then 13 seconds here in the time trial, which is the third one. So that's why it explains the low damage, the 13 seconds. Also here we have 15 seconds on the time trial and 16 seconds. So as you can see, this is actually consistent. Even the average time in seconds actually says is 15 seconds. So it's actually consistent in a way. Even if you do it like 10 fights, it will still land on those numbers. And it has actually the highest damage per second out of the 4. And leaving your Thunder here, as you can see, on par or almost the same as your natural selection. Although, as I've said, your Thunder is RNG, and because of that, your Thunder has one of the highest amounts of time. So you have here 16 seconds, you have 17 seconds, another 16, 16, and then 19. So the lowest time only that your Thunder managed to have is actually 16 seconds, and the worst time is 19 seconds. So it has the worst time out here, and also it has the worst average time. That's why it has, as now you can see, that's why it has the highest average damage, because it has the worst time. And based on that also, it has potentially the same as the natural selection. But the thing is, with the natural selection, on that space of time, you will have 10% of defense. Let's say 10% of defense. But here on the Thunder, you won't have that. It's like 1/2 of the natural selection without the perks of the natural selection. But the damage per second is almost the same with your natural selection. Now on the last part, so the amount of timing here is almost also consistent in a way. But as you can see here, it has the third highest average time, which is almost the same also as your natural selection. But also, as you can see here, they also share the highest time, which is 17, which is also both you lose on the same at the same time. Now the only advantage of calculation here is the total amount of damage per second, which is 671 in our trial. Now based on this data, the best one we have on par is actually Starlink. Although, as I've said, it's one tier above the other ones. But we are using actually defensive Starlink with a Mystic Mirror than an offensive. And the other 3 has offensive Adornment. So that's actually it. Number 1, I'm going to disclose here in this video that Starlink, number 1. If I said before that you cannot really use Starlink on the PvP, on the arena, on attacking cities, boy, when I check out the data and study it for a long time, even though they said that it's only for solo PvP, now I'm going to tell you guys that it actually works on attacking city, on the PvP, and on the battlefield. The only thing that the Starlink isn't working on is actually the rally. Let me show that to you for a bit. So here we attack a city. As you can see here, mixed troops 224k versus our 167k in here. This is the enemy, and these are the buffs. Now, as you can see here, we are wearing our Starlink. Now, this is a different Starlink though. This is not the Starlink that I used during the test. This is how you know that your Starlink is working. You can see the total damage, right? There is no other additional damage here from Ramesses' side. You got 195,847. Now, comparing it to the total, which is 215, as you can see here, you get that total because of the normal attack. So it's 5,423. But the strategy skill damage shows this is all the types of skills. So you can have here all the types of damage that Ramesses gets from his skills. Although, on your details, you can only get 195,847. But in your total strategy skills, you get 210,000. So it's a difference of almost 15k. So that 15k is actually from your Starlink Adornment. So that's actually it. That's actually how you would know that your Starlink is actually working. So this is against a city. Now, this is on the arena PvP. You can see we lost, yes. But I'm going to show you here that it works. Okay, so we have the total damage of 99,451. Now here, as you can see, we have 103. Okay, so the difference is around 1,000, oh no, 3,000 or 4,000, something like that. So 4,000 in the difference, and then plus 19 is actually 105,312. To completely say that it works, we're going to compare this one without the Starlink. Okay, so this time around, we don't have the Starlink anymore. I am using a calculation in this fight. So you can see here 112,803. So that should be the exact damage that you have on your stats. And that it is. So 112,803. Same as your activated damage of your Ramesses. And then the total with the normal attack is 114,000. So you can see there that it actually works even in PvP and even in the city. So here, as I've said, Starlink, I think for me is the best because it's the most consistent form of damage over here. Now the only thing here is that if you don't have a Starlink, the next best thing is actually your calculation, because it's a little bit more consistent when it comes to the damage. So also calculation is best also when you are actually using a pure tactician march. Calculation is actually really good. But if you can get natural selection versus thunder and calculation, I think natural selection is your choice, because it can give you defense and it can give you offense. So sometimes when you are facing, for example, I am a Ramesses and I am facing an archer, or I know there are archers or lubus out there, I think I would rather choose natural selection because of the defense. But it really depends on you guys, on what you think is best. So for me, luckily, I have all of them. So sometimes I do change from Starlink to natural selection, because you can actually reset your adornments level, but not the attributes, just not the tiers of the adornments, but rather the levels. So now, based on this information, I think it's safe to say that you have now the idea on which adornment you need to focus on, because it's not cheap to actually level up your adornments because of the amount of raw iron that you need per level of your adornment tier. So for those of you guys who are low spenders, maybe free to play, I think hopefully this video will help if you are using a Ramesses. So I think also in the case that you are also using a Sun Tzu, I think it's also the same, almost the same as what we have here for your swords. So hopefully this video helps you out choose which adornments you want for your Ramesses, or for if you are using a Sun Tzu. And also, one more thing, or one more tip that I want to share with you guys is, for me, you only need 1 offensive adornments and 2 defensive adornments. It means that you need at least 2 Mystic Mirror and also just 1 Swift Blade. So thank you for checking out this video, guys, and if you want more breakdown like this, please let me know in the comments. And also, please do us a favor of liking the video and sharing it with your friends or your alliance, your Discord, your page, or wherever your socials are. If you can share this video out there, maybe we have a chance to gain more viewers, and more viewers that we have, the more players that we can actually help, especially the free-to-play and the low spenders. I really want to help them out with my videos. And also, if you are new to the channel, you like this kind of content, or you are a new player, please do give us love by subscribing and also ring that bell so you will always be notified soon as we have a new video just for you guys. Anyway, squad, as always, have a great day to everyone. This is your TITOBODS, and I will see you in the next one. And hey, click on this video right here for more awesome TITOBODS content. Thanks for watching, you guys, and TITOBODS out.